Bye. We are here today to tell you the truths and lessons of gym owners of 6 years, and now we've sold our first business. We're here to be honest, authentic, and tell you the lessons that we've learned along the way.
Number one, and we have been total victims of acting on emotion, not using our data to derive and make decisions. Jordan and I have always been people that wear our heart on our sleeves, treat people as if they are all wonderful, shiny human beings, as we know that not everyone gives you that energy and vibrations back. We've been total victims of acting on emotion rather than using data. Now, what that means is when you make a decision or when you are determining how your month of business has been, and you might say things like, oh, I feel like we're doing really well, or we've made a good decision there. But whereas a data-driven decision or data-driven reaction would be more like, right, we've had 25 people inquire about our services this month. Out of those 25 people, 10 people signed up to our services, and they participated in the front end offer, which might be a 6-week trial, for example. Based off of last month, the 10 people that signed up to our services, 5 of those people signed up as members. So you have a conversion rate, you have a lead to trial rate, and you can track that percentage. You have a trial to conversion into member percentage, and if you track those, what are known as key performance indicators, it helps you make better informed decisions rather than just saying things like, I feel like we're doing really well at the moment, or just judging your business on what money is in the bank account. So you need to be smarter than that, and that's one thing that we learned, didn't we?
Yeah, and I think for me, definitely, I am more of the emotional, personal on the business side, where I just get too attached to clients. I always have done for over 15 years, and they become more my friend. And when that person decides to leave, it's so upsetting because you feel like you've given everything, your heart and soul, before I've even put breakfast on the table for my kids. My whole energy I give to that person, and it's really hard to not be emotional when you're working and bonding and growing that client journey. But when you become a business owner, a gym owner versus a PT, that relationship does have to change, which I never fully cracked because I was just too involved in the emotion. So as a gym owner, you have got to be very data-driven focused. It's not just personal training, it's becoming an owner of a business. And
it's a completely different skill set.
Different skill set, and that leads on to what Ray said about the data. You've got to have them key performance indicators. There's so many people out there that are personal trainers. The personal training qualification, that's quite relatively easy to get. The difference between a personal trainer standard and a very good personal trainer and the coaching excellence is very thin nowadays, and I'd like to say that me and you were very good personal trainers. But the difference between that and then becoming a gym owner, with a gym owner, you've got mortgage or rent to pay, you've got staff wages, you've got responsibility of the equipment if it breaks, etc. It's not just being a PT and walking into a gym that you pay rent or work at, delivering the sessions and going home. The hats that you wear are so much more, aren't they?
Yeah, and you'll always specialise in a certain area skill set. You might be really good at sales and getting people on board. You might be really good at coaching, and you kind of deploy your expertise in the area that best serves you. But of course, as Jordan said, it comes with all the other challenges of putting all that skin in the game and all that at stake. Yes, it just comes with a lot of challenges, and it requires a new version of you.
So yeah, we've spoken about emotion. We've briefly touched on the difference between a PT and a gym owner, but a big lesson is data, isn't it?
Absolutely. Do you know what? I was very reactive, going back to the first point, on a particular member one time when I heard that they said about me, what on earth does he do during the day? Because of course we would operate in the hours before traditional 9 to 5, and in the hours after your 9 to 5, because that was when most people that do normal jobs are free, so to speak. And my response to that obviously is reactive, but here's the data behind it. For example, we would share some content on social media, and you would create what's called sales funnel. So at the top of the funnel, you'd have all the people that would be interested and might even, as they work down the funnel, start engaging in your content. And at the very bottom of the funnel, that's when they click sign me up or I'm interested. And when that person does eventually come to the bottom of the funnel, that comes through as a website, and it's called a lead. When that lead gets in contact, it's the gym owner's responsibility to contact that interested person as quick as humanly possible, and because that person has reached out and said, I need help, and if you don't respond whilst they're in that emotional state, you're highly likely not to convert that lead into a paying customer the longer you leave it. So my job was to get calls booked or get leads into the business. They would be contacted by me. Everyone that walked through the doors before they did was contacted by me. Kind of vet them, so to speak. I would have a little conversation via WhatsApp, ask them about where they're currently at in their journey, what they want to achieve, and I would confirm whether they were right for us and we was right for them based on some of the terminology they would use and some of the things that we would talk about. If they were right, I'd get them on a call straight away and we would talk about their goals and their fitness. And generally, say for example, I would have 10 calls in a single week, Monday to Friday, for example. If a person arranged a call at a weekend, they were 100% signing up because they gave up time on their weekend. I just grew in confidence that weekend calls, they were a sign up instantly. It's just experience. Anyway, 10 calls a week. Out of those 10 calls, generally I converted 70%, which is actually a really good percentage, and it probably meant we should have increased our prices, but we didn't.
And all of our marketing was organic. We never ever did paid marketing.
We never got to that point where we paid marketing. So yeah, 7 out of 10 people would sign up. It was £350 for 6 weeks. Don't even need to go into figures, but you can do the maths. Based on the front end offer that is called. You would get a client in with lots of sessions in a 6-week period. You would complete a check-in halfway through, and at the end of the 6 weeks, by three weeks in, that client already made a buying decision whether they wanted to become a member or not. So you're already having them conversations 3 weeks in. So based on what I did during the day, if I was doing calls, which is generally what we was doing along with coaching off the gym floor, 10 calls during a week, that potentially resulted in revenue coming into the business. But if a client was to come on board as a member, generally they would stay with us for around 10 months. So if a client was paying £250 a month plus £350 for a 6-week front end offer, and you're looking at around just under £3,000 for one phone call that was going to be worth to the business. So 10 calls being worth £30,000 across that 10-month period. So what a gym owner does during the day, they have to leverage their time. So one call, that on average converts into a £3,000 yield for that one client. So that is kind of what you have to think about from a data point of view. And that's the same when a client leaves. It's really hard to not be emotional because that client pays $250 a month. And if they left at month 2 or month 3, that you're losing a client, not for that yield. That client they might have been signed up wrongly because they're not right for the business or the brand. But if you're losing a client after 2 months and your average client stays for 10, then you're losing 8 times 250. So you're losing £2,000 from the business when that client leaves. So it's really hard not to be emotional because you put a lot of time and effort into people and they just go, I'm leaving. That's the hardest thing, but you must use data to make your decisions because of what I've just explained. Let us know below if you need to see this on the whiteboard, because I don't mind whiteboarding it because I fully appreciate some people are visual learners. I think I probably am, but I know that I probably just rambled quite a bit there. But anyway, drop us a comment.
Okay, so moving on to the next lesson.
Oh, over to me.
Over to you.
What we learned, and we learned this, it was such a hard lesson, and it took a long time to sit well with us. When a client or prospect, so a client that's a potential client, gets in contact, if the first thing they say is, hi, I need some
How much is
training.
your-
How much is it? The person or the persons that ask how much are your services before they even talk about what they want to achieve, what they've done to try and achieve results in the past. If the first thing they ask is how much, generally we got to a point where we didn't respond because they were not the right clients for us.
Yeah, they're the clients that once they eventually sign up, they actually cost you so much time. They want to drain and pull every penny of what they've paid for from your service,
So
beyond everything.
So we'll keep this one short and sweet because I don't want to offend anyone. It's just a lesson we've learned, and this is authentically us. If a client asks for the first time, hi, how much is it to train with you? Generally, that was not a good fit for us, and we took a long time to learn that.
And that comes down to value, because they're not thinking like, hi, how are you, first of all? I'm really struggling with my confidence and my fitness. I'd really like some help. How could you help me? Before they're even thinking about their health and their value, they're already putting a price on if they can actually pay for it. If your health is a huge value and a priority to you, the cost
Shouldn't matter what it costs.
Cost shouldn't come into it. Yes, everyone has a budget, but if your cost and your price tag is your first initial alarm, then you're not going to value the service that the ownership and the service is going to be giving you. So that is a big lesson and big alarm bells.
Right.
So the next lesson is about leadership and delegation. And maybe we weren't the best leaders, maybe we weren't the best delegators. I know that as gym owners and business owners and husband and wife and being in this industry for a long time, it's hard to let go of control. It's your baby. You know that you're the best at doing what you deliver because it's your passion. It's what you do. It's what you breathe and yeah, just everything you put out there. So when it comes to delegation of giving tasks to different coaches or asking for help, it becomes quite hard because you're a control freak in that, knowing that you're the best person to do it. But obviously things aren't going to get done if you don't outsource and delegate to other people. And then there's other parts of the business where you're actually better to outsource because people are better at you at certain things. For example, we took on someone for social media, we took on someone for admin once upon a time because they were better in them positions. But when it comes to leadership, that's something that we gave our best shot at it, but maybe that's a journey that we still had to grow into.
Yeah, leaders eat last. And you're not there pointing the finger, giving instructions. You're there, you're sweeping up when no one's looking. You're staying calm when everyone's getting panicky. We didn't have a large team, but we did go through 9 members of staff in 6 years. 2 of those years were open and closed throughout the COVID time. So we felt like there was quite a high staff turnover. It's a tough industry. I mean, what Jordan said there, it's hard to delegate, but it's something that you must do. I knew that I was the best at doing the sales and on board, like getting people through the door, getting them on the phone and understanding their problems and then trying to rectify the problems. And the consultation, that initial call to sign up, but that initial call to go through that consultation really was the first step in many clients achieving great results because it helped us understand them. And that was what I felt. I enjoyed that chase, I enjoyed that challenge, and I should have been doing that every single waking day because I felt like I was the best person at it. When it comes to coaching, because my head was in onboarding and looking at the numbers so much, maybe I wasn't the best coach, maybe I wasn't the most present coach, but that is where we needed to outsource to other people coming in to deliver the coaching. And that needs time to nurture a team. It needs time to build a team of like-minded coaches that aren't individuals on a gym floor in a highly competitive pure gym or whatever else. This is a team of coaches, and we have to share the same ideologies, the same ethos, same training techniques. And we was always, you don't have to be the most technical of coaches, but you have to be highly motivational, personable, a great communicator, and that was where we was with it. We was willing to sacrifice on an individual's technical ability, and because it was more important that they could communicate and motivate people, and deliver what we wanted. But I guess, leadership was something that we learned and we struggled with.
And that leads on to being able to have capacity to juggle so many things. Like Ray briefly just said, leaders eat last. Like, we weren't sitting there earning all the money. Like, when a client pays, staff get paid before we do. Like, the equipment that's damaged gets paid before we do. The mortgage gets paid. Like, bills get paid. We eat last.
I would go as far as saying we only got paid when we sold it.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
You will, if you're sitting there thinking, oh, I'm a PT, should I open up a gym? You will earn more money being a PT.
Just be a PT.
Just by selling your time each hour and charging, etc. Gym ownership is a whole different ball game. It's not a chapter that we are very proud of. There's no regrets in it at all. It's a great growth, and if you're willing to go all in and put skin in the game, then do it. But it's not easy.
The lessons we've learned is preparing us for our next season.
Exactly, and it's going to help us grow even more. And the capacity to juggle so much whilst being parents, husband and wife, running a home, having staff. Every moment of my thoughts and Ray's thoughts were about other people. Were
waking up in the middle of the night, George, have you done this? Or Ray, what do you think this person's going through right now? Do you think they need this type of training or this type of training because they're going through this and they're going through that? That's how our life was.
Have you text so and so? Have you done?
Can you text me to text this person in the morning? Leave it so I can see it when I wake up.
Yeah,
we've done it all.
All of it. Worrying about coaches, making sure they're okay. If they're gonna turn up on time. If they're going to deliver the session to how we want. Then texting clients after, how was your session today? Did you do this, etc. It's the capacity to juggle so much and thinking about everybody else before you even weed in the morning, to put it politely. It then does take a toll on your lifestyle. When we first opened the gym, Ray was in the gym like 16 hours a day. He wouldn't train. He would grow his beard even longer, but even till recently you had a sty on your eye that's now gone.
I always used to, for the whole of my gym ownership years, I used to get styes on my eyes, and it'd be on both eyes. I'd get it when I was stressed, I was worried, or I just wasn't sleeping well, and that was quite frequently, to put it bluntly.
So can then end up costing you your lifestyle, and you've got to ask yourself, does it cost more than your health and your family? The answer we've realised is it shouldn't, but we wasn't able to grow a team to help us build that, and that was why the decision was to close down the gym, because we could have done it just the two of us, but does it align with our values to give everything else up? The answer is no. And that also leads on to like a feeling of loneliness. I often feel and felt that not a lot of people understood us or me or as a person in terms of growth, mindset, business, because running, and that's not putting anyone else down, that's just my level of how I felt, because I didn't want to be, I love being a mum, but I didn't want to be a typical traditional mum where she doesn't work and she's a full-time mum, which I highly respect, by the way. I think motherhood is such a hard job, and those that are full-time mums are incredible. But for me, I loved working. I was very career focused, and when I spoke to other mums that were full-time mums, obviously all their capacity and mind was focused on being a mum, whereas mine wasn't. And I've really found it hard to find people that understood what my head was going through. On the flip side now, I'm seeing motherhood in a different light, because just silly little things where I'd rush to put the kids' shoes on, or I'd shout like quick, I'd be rushing everywhere because I wasn't present being a mum. So I found that lonely, and and especially in the industry that we're in, the mentorship that we was under, which was absolutely incredible. It's a very male-dominated industry, being a gym owner. And I remember sitting in the first summit that we went to 2 years ago, and I was one of 5 females. The other 200 were men. So it was very lonely as a female, very lonely as a mum. I just found it quite lonely.
As a small business owner, it's hard to create a network of like-minded people. Not that there's any difference to someone employed in a 9-to-5 job. I'm not saying that. What I mean is you'll have more losses than wins. It's just hard to talk to people about some of the emotions you go through, because when you've got so much at stake. Our business fed our family. Jordan didn't have a job and I had a job. It was everything to us. It was our first baby, and it's really hard. That's why we invested a lot of our income into mentorship, because we found it valuable to be able to share some of our wins and losses, or which I highly recommend to do with mentorship in whatever business you're trying to grow, because you will surround yourself with like-minded people that understand the stresses that you're going through, the anxiety, the emotions, the highs, the lows, and the lessons along the way. And the thing is, a lot of people that do work a 9-to-5 job, they get to come home, turn their laptop off on a Friday and not think about it until a Monday. Whereas running your own business, or if someone's in a high position in their career, there isn't a switch off time. You're always on the ball, always, and that's really, really hard and then you lose presence in other areas, don't you? Yes, and we felt that wasn't a trade-off we was willing to take anymore. We want to talk about product. It was a small group personal training gym, and what we thrived was small group personal training, coaching excellence, delivering quality personal training with ourselves. We've been coaching for 15 plus years. We know how the body works, we know movement patterns, and that was what we enjoyed doing. Yeah, so when you pay a one-to-one PT, in the area we live in, if you want an excellent service, you'll be paying £50 to £60 an hour for 1 hour's personal training, one-to-one. And although that's great, it obviously comes with the individual needs to have a particular budget to see that trainer 2 or 3 times a week, which I believe 3 times a week would be optimal. But then we're getting close to £200 a week for personal training, which, if you did that for 6 months, obviously it's going to be a considerable investment, but you will learn so much, you will see significant results, but not a lot of people are going to want to kind of invest that much money. Where we come along was in a small group setting. We delivered training to our best ability, a personal deliverable, but you were able to see us, your trainer, 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a week for a significantly less amount of investment. So you was able to check in with your trainer multiple times a week, but have the bonus of being in a small group setting. So you had the camaraderie, you had a community of people that you saw regularly if you come at the same time, and it was much more cost effective for you to get great results. And you'd also still get the off the floor coaching. So not only do we deliver the personal training in a small group, we were still using our skills of what we've always done and had off the floor communication with our clients, limitless. That gives space for coaching excellence, coaching experience, and that gives space for the member to grow and to have a whisper in the ear that literally will sometimes be the loudest voice they hear all week. And it gave opportunity for that. It gave space for coaching and for the member to grow. However, you've got this growing market, and it seems we decided amongst just ourselves, not with our mentor, but amongst ourselves, there's a growing desire for Hyrox and just these large group HIIT workouts, which are high volume, they risk injury, they aren't necessarily, clients aren't progressing from, but it's fun, it's interactive, the workouts on the board, you do it in groups, it's cheaper, there's no coaching, it's just instructor-led workouts. Now again, I'm not criticizing this, that's a business model that does work, but when a client pays less money, they will just churn quicker, they won't value you, they'll disrespect the kit, and these are all things we've spoke about earlier, and it's not what we wanted to do. And this seems to be on a massive rise, these Hyrox hit-based, high volume workouts, which wasn't aligned with what we wanted to do. And we just felt like we could see the market demand switching towards this model more and more and more. And that wasn't to say that our model was, our business was struggling, because right up until, we ceased operations, we had over 100 members, average yield, nearly £250 a month. We had a strong business, and that was just the monthly recurring, let alone the front end offers, the sales we would do in a month. So we had a really healthy business, but we could see the tide changing. And when we could no longer invest time, energy and money into staff members, that was when we pulled the rug from underneath our feet and just said, no, not doing it anymore. It seems to be less desire for the marketplace to get education now.
Yeah, I think the education gap, the skills gap is huge.
People seem to do they actually want coaching anymore? Does the marketplace just demand 45 to 60 minute workouts, which are ski, row, run, wall balls, and endless amounts of burpees? I don't know, maybe it's a limited belief of ours, but we feel like there's a real trend at the moment that seems to be what people want, and good luck to them. Nothing against those people, and our business was perfectly fine. It's just we didn't want to do it all ourselves, and we couldn't find people to help us deliver. And authentically, whether you get this far into the video or not, as a gym owner, do your very best to buy the freehold premises that your business operates from. Of course it's tax advantageous, of course it's advantageous because you don't have a landlord, and when you decide that enough is enough, you can just sell. And I really recommend giving yourself that option in the future by doing your utmost to buy the freehold property.
And the equipment, we didn't lease any equipment, none of it was second hand, FYI.
Look, we aren't financial advisors, but don't take on debt. Buy when you've got the cash, reinvest when you've got the cash, and always prepare for your VAT. Remember, as a service offering, we never bought anything, any products, so you just pay 20% VAT off your top line. It's horrendous. And you buy a small family car every 3 months, it's something that you have to account for, because you know that VAT bill's coming and you have to be aware of it, and it all comes down to managing it. And like I say, this under no circumstances is this financial advice, because we are not financial advisors, but we have got experience firsthand at running a small business, a very successful small business. Yeah, buy the freehold property. Do whatever you can to buy, even if you think it's costing you too much money. I promise you, later down the line, it will appreciate in value, and you will appreciate your decision that you made back when you did it. I promise you.
So I hope you enjoyed some of our lessons of being gym owners, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and we'd love to hear your feedback too.